ఎదబెట్టే గొర్రుతోని ఇతనాలే పెట్టాలమ్మా ఎదబెట్టే గొర్రుతోని కాల పంట మనమైన జయ్యాలమ్మా పాతార కాల పంట మనమైన.
Agriculture, they say, is a way of life for the Indian farmer. And this way of life encompasses all their festivals, rituals, and celebrations. Spread all through the year, Indian farming is a series of seasonal operations. Every operation precedes or is accompanied by its own set of festivals. Land for the Indian farmer is not a lump of soil. It is Mother Earth herself. This humanized reverence runs through all season-related activities and the accompanied rituals. In the Deccan region of South India, agriculture season begins in the month of June, when the sowing takes place. Preceding it are preparatory activities like ploughing the land and adding manure. Manure is the first resource that is used in Deccan farming. Therefore, it is given the status of goddess wealth. The manure heap that dots the Indian village-scape in the pre-monsoon days is reverentially worshipped as Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth in Indian mythology. In our parts of the Deccan, Penta Pooja, worship of the heap, is firmly written into their festival calendar. Just the way they worship other gods and goddesses, women also worship the Penta, the manure heap which they grow all through the year by throwing into it all the household waste and cattle dung. By the month of April, just when the sowing season is about to begin, the Penta has become a wonderful source of bioenergy, having converted all the waste through the action of the cattle dung as a catalyst. This heap of energy, which is going to transform the soil on the farmer's land into a fertile landmass and facilitate the growth of healthy crops all through the year, is something to be revered by all means. The farmers do revere it in the form of Penta Pooja. Once the manure is transferred onto the farm and mixed with the soil, the farm is ready to receive the seeds for the cropping season. For this purpose, through a highly skilled and scientific process, the farmers have to sow the seeds in an organized fashion. But before sowing, they have to pay their obeisance to the animals and the instruments which make the act of sowing possible. For the farmers in the Deccan, bullocks are a great asset. Without them, no agricultural operation is possible. And so are the instruments such as Erokka, the plough, Gorru, the planter, Saljadagam, etc. In a special festival called Erokka Punnami, the farmers observe this festival both at the individual level and the community level. The entire day at home is a day of the bullock. It is bathed in the nearest pond, cleaned, painted with the choicest of the colors and designs, fed with special sweets, and worshipped just the way other gods and goddesses are worshipped. In the evening, the entire village gathers at the village square. every family proudly marches its pair of bullocks in order to exhibit its plough power. Once the community ritual is completed, all the cattle are taken back to their homes. Nagula Panchami is the festival of the snake in the chronology of festivals. Indian farming communities have realized over a long time the great importance of the snake in agricultural operations. The presence of the snake in the farm indicates its health. The snake is the enemy of the rodents that play havoc on any kind of crop. Controlling such pests biologically is an important challenge for the farmer. The snake is an important controller of the pests without being a pest itself. This contribution of the snake is never forgotten by the farming community. Therefore, they are annually worshipped by the women, who see them also as a symbol of fertility. Therefore, snakes have dual importance. For the women in their own way, and farmers for obvious reasons. On the day of Nagula Panchami, the women look out for snake pits in their neighborhood and in a symbolic way pour milk into the pit, offering it as food for the snakes. Every village has a special worship place where snake images carved in stone are installed. These places are treated as most sacred places by the entire community. At various times in the year, people visit these places and worship the snake idols. Festivals in the Deccan harmoniously follow the agriculture and weather cycles. After the sowing festival, which is celebrated at the time of heralding the monsoon rains, comes the Gangamma Panduga, the festival of the river goddess. The dry land of Telangana hardly has any mighty rivers, and therefore even the sight of a small stream next to the village makes the farmers think of it as the river goddess Gangamma, or the mighty Indian river Ganga. The stream in full flow hardly lasts for a week or so, and within this period, people have to convey their gratitude to nature that she has given them a river to thank. Small floats are constructed out of the stalks of the winter jawar, which is the most prized crop of the region. These floats are taken to the stream closest to the village, filled with sweets, eats, cooked rice, and a lamp. These floats are then worshipped and set afloat on the stream. This way, the farming women greet the water goddess and say thank you to her. As the rains bless the earth and the streams flow in their full capacity, Mother Earth manifests herself in all her grandeur. Grandeur for the farmers in this region means the unending crops that adorn the farms with amazing biodiversity. Anchored by sorghum, the major crop of the area, a host of millets, legumes, and oilseeds form a basket of crops that sum up the crop cafeteria of the region. A collective prayer goes out, urging Mother Ganga to bless us with a continuous stream and accept the lamp of worship that we light. As the rains recede and streams continue to flow in full capacity, the earth becomes abundant. This is a time when not only the planted crops, but also the uncultivated plants flourish and have a heyday. They appear everywhere and in full strength, covering the earth with a greenery heralding healthy soil. Ganesh Chavithi is the festival of Ganesh, the god of all beginnings. Ganesh Chavithi is also a unique festival of biodiversity. It is ordained that Ganesh must be worshipped with at least 108 leaves, all of which must be available within a mile of your residence. This religious restriction turns every single square kilometer area into a treasure of biodiversity. Women move around and collect some of these plants that are not normally used for worship. Tummikura, Leucas aspera, and its flower, for example, are normally never used in any other festival but for the Ganesh festival. Thus, the very preservation of Tummi plant is a part of the Ganesh ritual. The 108 various leaves used for Ganesh worship also signify the relationship between religion and biodiversity that has been protected over centuries. Ganesh Chavithi is a day when every nondescript tool, such as a measure, a sickle, an axe, mortar and pestle, which serve some of the most primary needs of the people, are remembered and brought out into the open, decorated and worshipped. Ganesh himself is a unique god. He is an elephant-headed being who symbolizes the inalienable relationship between man and animal, lifting both to a status of worship. Ganesh has the rat as his vehicle, an unimaginable combination. Once again, no matter what the animal is, it has a divine status in the religious beliefs of the Deccan. Thus, several complex concepts such as natural biodiversity, man-animal relationship, and a benevolent God who makes all beginnings successful make this festival symbolic like no other festival. Dussehra as a festival has an extraordinary significance for women. Being a festival that extols the power of female goddesses such as Durga and Saraswati, Dussehra in the Deccan also epitomizes the role of women as crop biologists. In the Deccan, a unique ritual called Sasi Pusudu, Gattilo Kurchodam, is an indigenous way of saying that women have the capacity to choose the best of seeds by observing their germinating ability. In this ritual, women seem to mimic the way microbiologists perform an experiment, observing it carefully and coming to a final conclusion. Every step is a textbook method of science. The woman takes on the role of the germination observer. She gathers untested soil on a field, brings it home, mixes it with seeds that she has collected from the best farmers in her neighborhood, and keeps it aside in the place where the family gods are worshipped. Thus, the seeds and soil not only get a divine space, but also the most desirable position in the house where they can be under constant observation. During this process, the woman almost goes into isolation. Just like a lab scientist, she doesn't mix with other people and frequently keeps observing the soil and the seeds. After 9 days of observation, when the germination process is complete, the woman has fail-proof information about the germination capability of the seeds in her community. This way, she has the possibility to make use of and to recommend a certain seed keeper to the other members of the seed community, so that everybody has the access to the best seeds around them and have the possibility of a vibrant crop. At the end of the 9th day ritual, the woman takes out the germinated soil on her head and carries it to her own farmland to plant it. Or in some cases, sets it afloat in the village stream, so that the newly germinated life goes and mingles with the elements in nature. For the farming community in rural Deccan, this ceremony has a lot of symbolism, meaning and value. And therefore, it is highly cherished. An integral part of Dussehra is Bathukamma. Bathukamma Panduga is so unique for the fact that while in all festivals flowers are used to worship the gods, in the Bathukamma festival, flowers are the object of worship. It is also unique because the flowers celebrated and worshipped during Bathukamma are not the cultivated or marketed flowers. They are primarily wild flowers available in nature. In this fashion, Bathukamma creates a very special identity for itself and becomes a festival of nature and women. It is an all-woman festival. Women gather flowers from the wild, arrange them in artistic fashions and organize community dances around them, with the entire village participating with great abandon. At the end, these flower mounds are taken in procession and set afloat on a stream close by. It is remarkable that so many festivals in the region end up surrendering the worship to the river goddess. The significance of this needs to be explored. Dussehra is also a very distinctive festival in the Deccan for the way it tries to wipe out all enmities and hatreds and tries to rebind people in communities. On the last day of Dussehra, Vijayadashami, the entire village goes out as a procession to the shami tree on the outskirts of the village. People gather the branches of this tree and collect the leaves. Which are brought back in procession to the village center and worshipped. More importantly, the leaf of the shami tree is treated as gold and called bangaram. These leaves are exchanged between people, whether they be friends or enemies. This helps in erasing old hatreds and rebinds communities. Everybody, old or young, man or woman, exchanges these leaves, hugs each other, and touches the feet of elders in reverence. The festival ends on a note of newly cemented friendships and camaraderie. The Soonem Panduga is a festival of reverence and love for the Mother Earth. It is heralded with a visit to the farm by the entire family of the farmer. They go singing around their farm. Several versions of the songs are available, such as Olega Sagam Olega and Belio Jolave, a song that urges the sorghum crop to grow well. Such songs are sung to propitiate Bhu Thalli, the Mother Earth, who is pregnant at that time and bears a host of crops. Sorghum, pigeon pea, a variety of pulses and a range of vegetables, Sabbanda Kuragayalu. It is the time of pregnancy when the Mother Earth craves for special foods. To satisfy her craving, people cook bajikura, a fascinating dish in which all the available vegetables, leafy and otherwise, and tender grains, including the green pods of pigeon pea, dolichos lablab, chickpea, chilies, green peas, lathyrus, amaranth, and other leafy greens are cooked together and offered to the mother. The singing also is meant to please the mother. The expected result of all this is to persuade the mother to think, these people are making such an effort to keep me happy, therefore, by making the harvest bountiful. This is the expected result. It is not negotiated as a crude business act. It is an act of love, an act of gratitude, an act of worship, and finally, an act of celebration. Endlagatte Punnami is a festival that joyously celebrates diversity. The festival precedes the harvesting of winter crops. On this day, men and women collect earheads of various crops from their farms. Earheads, along with special sweets and cooked rice, are offered to the village goddess. It is an act of gratitude toward the goddess who has showered her blessings on the farms and made a diverse produce possible. Simultaneously, each house front is adorned with toranam, a string of earheads tied across the front door. The main crops constituting the toranam are Satyam Pantalu, the 5 crops of truth. Along with them, other crops in the farm also make it to the toranam. The greater the diversity of the earheads, the prouder the household feels, and its status goes up in the community. It is the most fascinating and creative way of declaring your commitment to diversity. Holi is India's carnival festival. People go gay. Colors fly all over, and for an entire day, the entire community bursts with joy and celebration. Holi is the festival of color. Out on the streets, people greet each other, throwing colored powders or sprinkling colored water on each other. The night before the celebrations, a meaningful ritual takes place. Kama, the god of lust, gets consigned to the flames, signifying the destruction of lust and the assertion of moral sanity. Color festival that takes place the next day is a celebration of this victory over lust. Ugadi heralds the Telugu New Year and is therefore the most important and sacred festival for the people in the Deccan. It is significant to note that the beginning of the year is virtually called the beginning of the Eon, Adi Yuga. Yuga means eon in Telugu, and Adi is the beginning. Probably to signify that every year must be treated as an eon in itself and respected as such. An extraordinary part of the Ugadi celebration is the Ugadi Pachadi. It's a combination of 6 tastes, the classical Shadrasam, which according to the Hindus' belief is the essence of life. So that all these tastes are embraced with equanimity, people make a pachadi consisting of neem flowers, bitterness, jaggery, sweet, raw mango pieces, tart, voggaru, tamarind, sarnis, salt, karam, spice. This pachadi is shared the first thing in the morning by all members of the family. The house doors are adorned with a string of fresh mango leaves and neem leaves, giving it a bright New Year look. In the Telangana part of the Deccan, swings come up on almost every tree in the village. Children and others enjoy the day by swinging on these makeshift swings. As usual, the festival food is served to everyone in the family. In the evening, the entire village assembles at the village temples to listen to the village priest, who opens the new almanac and decodes it for his lay listeners. People tensely try to find out whether the rains and crops would be good, normal, or very good in the coming year. As the entire year unfolds before them, people go back to waiting for the new year to bring its own happiness, joy, sorrow, or anything that it portends, and become ready for it. Dozens of festivals and celebrations. All revolve around seeds, soil, and farming, all of which are an essence of a farmer's culture. At every strand, we can see the devotion and celebration closely intertwined. This is unique to the Deccan farming ecosystem. This makes everything richer in the Indian rural landscape.